Hey everyone, welcome back to Lilienburg. It's been quite a while since the last episode, and first of all I'm going to apologise for that, but yeah, I have been very busy. Obviously, like I've been saying in previous episodes, schoolwork has really started to take hold, and yeah, this is probably not going to get any better, this upload schedule. It's been over 2 weeks since my last video. I do apologise. I love making these videos, but I really don't think I'm going to be able to keep it up. You can expect a video every 2 weeks at least, but sometimes I have more work than other times, so I don't have any time to play this game. I have had some delays, to be honest, making this video as well. Some of you may know that I edit on my iPad, and with iOS 14 coming out, there have been some changes with iMovie, so I was just trying to get grips to that, and I struggled to import the video into iMovie from my computer in the first place because of the update. But with that out the way, we are here in Lilienburg, and we are theming the SNS Screaming Swing, which we have worked around in the last video. So yeah, we're just getting a lot of rock work done now. Obviously this ride is called Dynamite, therefore it's themed around a mine, and this is all meant to be some kind of quarry. So there's lots of rocks and some almost Wild West theming going in around here. So for this first section of the video, we are actually going to be placing in quite a lot of rocks. Right here you can see I'm just putting some netting here, and it does actually get very, very close to the flat ride as it swings past. But yeah, this is just, it's something different. I wanted to make it look like it's lots of big cliffs, but I didn't want to just put rocks. I like making stuff look unique, and sometimes it's quite hard to do that with literally just having rocks. That's all you've got, because I don't know what else I'm meant to use to make cliffs look realistic. But this rock face here, I decided to make it look like there's been a rock fall, so that's why there are some nets and some grating sort of hanging over the queue line, and yeah, it just looks like it's there to hold back the rocks. And then yeah, I'm just duplicating large sections of the rocks to make it look like the rocks have come down, and thankfully the netting's there to stop it from getting onto the ride. But of course that's not really going to happen, because the rocks would probably all be bolted in anyway, maybe, if it was real theming, I guess. But yeah, I did say that it comes very close, and you may think, oh, that looks a bit close, are you sure about the clearance there? And I did consider making it lower, but then I realised that it swings really close to the ground anyway, and the gap between the ground and the floor of the ride is, it's very minimal, so it's not much. Yeah, it's basically the same as how close it comes to the nets down at the bottom, so I don't see the problem. So now we are working on this building which covers up one of the gas cylinders or canisters, whatever they are. At first I thought they were just some weird theming that Planet Coaster had put in annoyingly, but it turns out they are actually on the ride for real. They're used to somehow compress the gas, and it's part of the mechanism to get the whole flat ride to work in the first place. So I didn't know that, but they can be able to be covered up, I guess. So I've just got one inside this building, and then there's another gas canister on the other side, and that is sort of in the rock face on that side, but I've built it so that the canister isn't actually being clipped through by rocks, so it just, yeah, I guess it's just a bit of realism. There we're just making custom roof, and again sliding the bits out so that it doesn't clip with the flat ride, because in real life theming doesn't really go into the flat rides much. So yeah, they've always built it so that it goes around instead of through, and yeah, just some custom walls here, making with wooden planks, and pretty simple, not much more to say. This building doesn't really have a purpose, to be honest. It's just to add a bit more depth to the whole theming, make it look like I put a bit more effort in than it may seem. Because although this flat ride does seem really detailed, I think I could have definitely gone into a lot more detail than I have done. Obviously the queue line, which I don't think I've shown you much of that because I did build a lot of it off camera. The queue line is quite detailed, and I'm really happy with the queue line, but around the flat ride, I think if I'd been a bit more imaginative, I could have made this look even better. But I don't want to put too much hours into this, because I know a lot of you will want to see me move on in this park and build something new, and that's why this is pretty much going to be the last video where we build this area around the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. And you may be able to see at some parts in this time lapse the coaster itself, and the finish loop does come pretty close to this flat ride. So you know, this whole plaza area, the main paths, it's almost one themed area, sort of steampunk slash western. Obviously Dynamite itself is a bit more western than the other purely steampunk Road to Blitz coaster. Some of you may think, oh, why are they in the same themed area? It doesn't really make sense. But I'm using similar pieces still, even though this one does look a lot more temporary. You can see that I'm using a lot of wood here. The other one was a lot of steel and brick. But I am using the same colour schemes. You can see lots of blacks, browns and reds going in here. So it does almost give it a similar kind of vibe to that other ride, even if it's not got the same theme. But anyway, that's basically this mini themed area. It's not really a themed area because, to be honest, a lot of these parks aren't really in themed areas. Terrestrial doesn't have any themed areas, I don't think. So each ride is pretty much its own. And yeah, that's what it is for this. But we do want to move on away from this area because this is, you know, a very high thrill area with a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster and an S&S Screaming Swing. So after this, I do plan to build a dark ride. I'm not sure if it'll stay. I don't really know. I'll see how it goes when I'm building it, but if I don't like it, it might just be too much work to make it look good and not worth it, so I could do something else. To be honest, the park that this is based around, Terrestrial, doesn't really have any dark rides. Correct me if I'm wrong. It does of course have some track rides, and I'm sure I can have some kind of nice family car ride going around, but because it's outside, it's definitely a lot easier to theme. But you know, having a full immersive dark ride experience is often a lot harder. But despite that, we will definitely be going back to the main street in the next episode, whenever that may be. So yeah, you can look forward to something around there. You can see, you know, it's straight after the entrance, which I kind of skipped in this series. We just went straight to this first series. I mean, I didn't really record that, but you will get some better views on the entrance to this park next time. And I'm not sure if I'll build the dark ride yet. I probably will, but I'll just see. I don't want to make any promises. Anyway, back to what we're building now. You can see me making this big building, and I've basically just deleted half of it already. I did think it would be cool to have a ruined building that the flat ride then flew through, and it turned out it was a lot bigger. The flat ride was a lot bigger than they expected, the cars, so it turned out they would end up having to knock out a lot more of the building than I expected, so it doesn't look as good as I hoped. But you know, putting some random clutter in, making the wood pieces look like they've splintered off at some weird angles, that just makes this look a little bit better. But yeah, I have then put a floor in because this is like, you can see the interior of the building, and that's basically what I'll be doing. I wanted to have a roof on this as well, but again, because the flat ride took up so much space, there's only one really thin section where I could have the roof. Obviously I wasn't going to have it all a roof, but I wanted to have it, you know, at least look like it had come through it and smashed the roof, but that's not really very clear to see. You just saw me there put a trapdoor because I wanted to make it look realistic, that someone could actually come up here, and I didn't want to, you know, have a staircase from the bottom because that would just be too much effort. So a trapdoor does the job for me. And yeah, we're just putting some random framework in here almost to make it look a bit more realistic, again like the interior of a building. And yeah, we're just putting some ruins in, almost like the flat ride came through, knocked out some parts of the building, and the remains of that are now on the floor. And now you can see the wooden planks coming off at weird angles, like I said before. So these have almost made it look like they've been knocked out by the flat ride again. So they're just, you know, hanging by threads almost, but obviously not threads, like I guess by one screw and the other one got popped out, I don't know. And yeah, we're making a little balcony on this side. I think this building's quite weird, to be honest, because from the Infinity Coaster it looks like a full building, but on the other side you can see, you know, the back of it. I made the windows and the doors go all the way through, as you can see on that side. But yeah, this balcony, there's not really any reason for it. I guess just an extra bit of theming, something different. Yeah, just adding a bit more depth, making it look less repetitive. And then there's stairs for no reason either as well. Yeah, I don't know what that's for. I hope no one climbs up that, because you know, it's not where you want people to go. But yeah, at this point in the time lapse, we're just trying to make the exit to the ride look reasonable. Obviously, some of these rides, you see, the queue is a lot better than the exit, because you know you've already had the experience. There's no point in putting massive budgets into making the exit look good. So yeah, I've not really gone to town with the exit, but I still wanted it to look tidy. You know, I don't want it to just look messy. So you can see the way that these rocks kind of match up with the path in quite a, you know, a tidy fashion, you could say. And just a bit more rock work, really. Again, like I said at the start of the video, I do want to make it look like a big mine that's been dug into the cliffs or into the ground, and that's created cliffs, I guess. Now we're just actually making a waterfall. Yeah, I didn't really know why I did this. I guess I just wanted it to look a little bit better, because the actual quarry where the ride dives down into looked a bit bare, so I kind of wanted to add something different. And I know that the in-game waterfalls don't really look that amazing, especially when you zoom into them, they literally disappear. But yeah, I just wanted to add that extra level of interaction, because I felt like the whole pit at the bottom of that infinity coaster did seem a little bit empty. But yeah, we're just making the interior for that building. Oh no, we're not anymore, but basically that building is supposed to be like some kind of miner's hut, I guess. There's loads of miscellaneous equipment in the boxes there. I think towards the end of this video, even though we're basically there already, it's just some lighting, you know, lamps, making it look good at night. To be fair, it needs to look good at day as well, because it is pretty dark when there's shadows on it. But yeah, I did use a lot of these lamps. You know, it makes stuff light up whilst keeping that thematic experience in a way. But yeah, that's all from me. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope to see you next time, and goodbye.